Am I audible? Asna?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we start with first lesson today. Structure of computer system. This is the first lesson of your syllabus computer organization. So as soon as you complete this lesson, you will be able to describe and define what is the structure of a computer. So that is our first outcome for the course. So once you complete the course, you will be able to describe what are the components of the computer, how is the structure of the computer, as well as you can define certain terms and terminologies which are used inside the system. So let us first define what is computer. Now, what do you mean by computer? It is some device which has many electronics equipments into it. Therefore, it is considered to be as a electronic device. So a device which has many electronic components. Therefore, the name given to a computer is an electronic device. Now, what does this device do? Sorry. Now, what does this device do? It does not only assemble the electronic components, but it also performs certain instructions which are given by the user. So whatever input a user gives, the computer reads that input and it acts based on the request which is being given by the user. Once the processing of that request has been completed, the system will generate the output for that particular request to a user. So we call this entire process as control of instructions. So whatever a user gives a input, that input is considered to be as a instruction. What will a system or a computer system do with that instruction? It will process that particular instruction. Once the processing of the instruction is being completed, it will generate the output to the user on the screen. Now, everyone might be aware of a term called as program. Now, what does a computer do is it takes the program from the user, it operates that program and it gives the output to the user. So let us consider one example of a program is addition of two numbers. So what input does a user give? It gives the input of two numbers, say suppose 2 and 3. What will system do? The system will add these two numbers, that is 2 and 3. After the addition is done, it will generate a result 5. After the result is generated, it will first store that result temporarily in the buffer. Once that output is displayed on the screen, it will remove it from the buffer. So in between processing and displaying of output, you have one component called as buffer, which is nothing but a small temporary memory. Why is this memory used? To store the data until the data is displayed to the user on the screen. Once it is displayed on the screen, it has been removed from the buffer. So the size of the buffer is very small and it is only going to store the data until it is displayed to the user. Once the output is displayed to the user, it will remove that from the buffer memory and then the user can store that output in any of the files or any of the folders inside the computer, which may be RAM or which may be hard disk or which may be any external device like pen drive or CD. So what is that program containing? A program contains a set of instructions. Now, what are those instructions? Say, suppose I have a variable A and I have a variable B. So I will require a memory to store a variable A. I will require some memory to store the variable B. Now, what is that A and B going to do? I have some value A is equal to 2. I have a value B is equal to 3. Now what I have to do with this two number is I have to perform a addition. A plus B is equal to result, say suppose. What is the result? Then I will store a result, say like STA result. Now what is all these 4 lines? These are nothing but the instruction. What is the first instruction? Store the value store the value 2 into a variable A. What is the second instruction? Store the value 3 into a variable B. Now what is the third instruction? Do the addition of A and B. What is there in A? Number 2. What is there in B? Number 3. So what it will do is it will add 2 and 3. What is the answer that I will get from the system is 5. Where is that 5 going to get stored? It will be stored in the variable called as result. So how am I storing it? By using an instruction called as STA. So what is that STA used for? It is nothing but store the result. So what result will be stored at this particular instruction is 5 will be stored. Where it will be stored? In the variable result. Where is that result? It is in some kind of memory. It may be in RAM, it may be in hard disk, or wherever the user wants to store. Once this 5 is displayed on the screen, it will be removed from the buffer memory. Until and unless it is not displayed on the screen, it will save that data into which memory? Into buffer memory. Okay, so what do I call this entire thing? As a program, but each and individual steps are considered to be as a instruction. So what is the function of this electronic device? It is used to control all these particular instructions. After that, what is the next function that a computer will do? It will accept the input. Now, if suppose I have not used these two variables for storing the data, and if I'm asking a user to give the input after I run the program. So as soon as I run the program, and when I give an input to from my keyboard as 2 and 3, what are those 2 and 3? The two numbers which will be added by the system. So the number 2 and 3 will be considered as a input given from the user to the system. So as soon as the input is given by the user, what is a function of a computer system is it has to accept the data, whatever is being given by the user. Now to accept this data, what am I supposed to check? Whether I have declared A as integer or not. Why? Because I am giving first input as 2, second input as 3. Both of them are integers. So what I have written in my program, int A, similarly I'll write int B, then I'll say A plus B is equal to result. And then I will write STA is equal to result. So what is, when I give the input, what is my instruction or what is my program going to check? Whether A value given is integer or not, whether B value given is integer or not. So that is what is called as accepting the data by checking what is there inside the program. Okay. Next is what? After the input is received, what I have to do with that input is I have to process. That means as soon as a user has given the input, what is a function of a computer system? To process that input. So what was the input that has been received by the system? It was input 2 and 3. So what is computer going to do with this number 2 and 3? It will process. What it has to process, again it will go into the program and it will see, I have accepted A, I have accepted B. Now what I have to process is a function. What is that function? A plus B. So what will system do? It will perform the addition by processing the data which is 2 and 3. Once the processing is done, the result is generated. What will the computer do? It will produce that information. How is that information produced? In the form of a output, where it will be produced on any of the output device to which the user is connected. So which the user is connected to which output device? To the monitor. So where will this output of 2 plus 3 equal to 5 will be displayed? It will be displayed on the screen. Once it is displayed on the screen, it will be removed from the buffer memory. And then user will be allowed to store that information into any of the files, any of the folders, any of the pen drive, or any of the CDs or disk, wherever the user wants. So this final storage is either inside the RAM, or it is inside the hard disk, or it is on some external device. But before the output is produced, that is in between processing the data and producing the output, the data is stored into the memory called as buffer memory. So this is what do you mean by a computer and how does your computer function. So it is a collection of many electronic devices. What are the functions of this devices? They will read the program. They will read every single instruction, accept the input based on the instructions. Once the input has been accepted, it will process that particular input based on the function specified in the program. After the processing is being done, it will store that data into a buffer memory. After it is displayed on the screen, it will remove the data from the buffer memory and it will allow the user to store anywhere inside the system. And that anywhere can be any memory like RAM, hard disk, or any kind of external device. Is this understood up till here? Okay. So we go to the next slide. What are the functionalities of the computer? So as I explained that once the program has been written and once the data is being accepted, it will do the work of processing. Once the processing is done, it will directly display the output. So how do we write these steps? So all the functionalities that we just discussed are being converted or are being specified into 3 steps. What are those 3 steps? We have data, we have processing, and we do processing of what? The processing of the information. Now what happens is, as soon as I start my computer, I have a user connected to that computer. Now what is the function of that user? It will start typing some program and it will expect some kind of output from the program. So when I start the execution of a program, what do I have to give to the computer is a input. So what the computer does, it takes the data in the form of the input. So the data that you can see here is nothing but the input. Where is that input going? It is going to the computer system. It stores and detain the memory and use when it is required. Now what happens is a user has given the input in a form of a data through the computer. Now
Ma'am,
yes,
ma'am, the second point is stores the data in the memory or detain the memory.
I am explaining.
Okay.
So once the input is given in the form of a data, it goes where? It goes to the computer. Now what is the function of a computer? It either detains the memory or it will use when it is required. Detains the memory means what? It will store until and unless the request for processing has not come. Once the request of processing has come, it will stop the work of detaining and it will start the work of processing. Once the work of processing is done, it will generate the output. So detain the memory means what? It is storing that input in the memory unless there is no request of processing comes from the user end. Once the request has come or once the program has come to a point of executing the function of A plus B, it will immediately start the work of processing the data. Once the processing is being completed, it will generate the output. So the output which I get is called as information and the input which I give is called as a data. Once the output is being generated, it will keep on controlling all these steps again and again in a loop until and unless the execution of entire program is not completed. So it might happen that I have a program which will do only addition, but I also have a program which will do addition as well as subtraction. So for one particular function, that is addition, all this process will be done. Again, same process will be done for the second function, that is subtraction. So that is what is called as controlling the above steps. So this controlling will be done until and unless it does not comes to the last point or the last instruction of the program. Once if it has reached to the end of the program, it will stop all the above process and it will stop the execution of the program. That is what is called as functionality of a computer. So you give an input which is called as data. It will store the data in the memory, that is detain it in the memory unless the request for processing has not come. Once if the request of processing has come, the CPU will process the data. Once the processing is being done, it will generate the output which is called as information. It will again go into the program and check whether the end has come or not. If the end has not come and if there are more functions to be performed, same steps will be controlled in a loop. Once if it has reached to end of the program, it will stop the execution of that particular program given by the user. Okay, is this understood up till here? So you give data in the form of input, you get information in the form of output. So now see, it might happen that I have internet connectivity in between. Internet connectivity means it might happen that I am sending some data to some another computer. So if I want to share my program with somebody else on other computer, I require a network system. So if I do not have a network system, I cannot send my data to, or I cannot send any particular program to any of the user which is there on the other system. So if I want a sharing to be happen between the two computers, I require an internet connectivity or I require a network system. So if you see, I have two computers over here and I have one computer over here. So if I want these two computers to communicate, How am I going to communicate it? With the help of this network system. So if I do not have this network system, I cannot have the communication between the two computers. So what is your computer system exactly? It contains some software, it contains some kind of hardware, and it also contains a network system. So now this network system is optional, and when it will come into picture only when you have such type of scenario where you are sharing the data. But if it is only a normal regular computer where you do not want anything to be shared, it will contain only software and it will contain only hardware. Now, what is the hardware of your system? You have keyboard, you have monitor, you have system unit. All those three things are the hardware. Along with this, you also have mouse as the hardware. Then you, if you want to connect some external speaker, that speaker is also considered to be as a hardware. Now, many of you might have installed a webcam over here. So that webcam is also considered to be as a hardware. But basic, when you buy a computer system, you get a keyboard, you get monitor, you get mouse, and you get system unit. Apart from this, whatever additional hardware you install are considered to be as external to the system. Now, apart from hardware, what do you get inside the computer system when you buy is the software part. Now, what is that software part? It is nothing but the operating system. What is operating system? If I only buy a computer and if I ask it to work, it will not work. Why? Because there is no OS into it. So if you do not have an operating system, your system cannot work. Even if you have hardware, monitor, सब कुछ है आपके पास, but operating system ही नहीं है, तो your system will never work. So what is the function of that operating system? It is a bridge between a computer and a user. जो भी user input दे रहा है, what is that we just saw, जो input दे रहा है, processing हो रहा है और output हो रहा है, this is all possible only if I have an operating system. If I do not have an operating system, I cannot see my screen. Whatever I type 2, 3, 4 numbers from my keyboard, I will not able to see that. Since I'm not able to see, I do not know whether it is getting processed by the system or not, as I'm not getting to see any output also. So what is that operating system? It allows the user commands to reach to the system, and it also allows the user commands to reach back to the system commands to reach back to the user. So we can say that operating system is an interface which connects your user and the hardware of the system. So all the communication which happens from user to the computer goes via the operating system, and all the communication that will happen between the system and the user will also go via operating system. So we are all aware about different examples of operating system. Like we have Unix, Mac, Microsoft Windows, Android, all these are what? These are the operating system. So if I do not have that operating system, there cannot be any communication from the user to the system or from the system to the user. Second, if you have a network connectivity, suppose if I want two systems to communicate and I have enabled my internet or I have set up an internet connection, how is that internet connectivity being done? With the help of some kind of web browsers. So we are all aware about different web browsers, Google Chrome, then you have Microsoft Edge, you have Internet Explorer, you have Opera, you have Safari. All these are what? Different kinds of web browsers. So how is your internet connectivity being? After the internet connectivity is done, you can use that internet connectivity with the help of a web browser. So that is also one kind of software required in your network system. Third is office productivity. Now, what do you mean by office productivity? Your operating system, as I said, is divided into two types. One is system software and another is application software. Now, what do you mean by system software? Which comes when you buy the system. And what are application software? You install it on your own because you are going to kind of purpose. So your operating system and device driver are the example of system software. I repeat, operating system and device drivers are the example of system software. They come when you buy the system. You do not have to put. But if you want to install some external hardware, at that time you have to install the device driver also. I will explain you this now. What is operating system? We just saw that any communication from user to system and system to user is done with the help of OS. Agar OS nahi hai, to I cannot have this communication. That is what is operating system. What is device driver? Now, what devices do I get when I buy a computer? I get a keyboard, I get monitor, I get CPU, and I get mouse. So all these are already working as soon as I start the system. Why? Because usko jo bhi device drivers lagte hai that are already installed when you buy. But suppose if I want to install some speaker, or if I want to install any other external device, so as soon as I attach that device, the device may not be visible to the screen. It will first ask you a prompt on the left corner of a screen that install the device driver or device driver required, which means what are those device driver? Whenever you install any devices, some kind of software is required to support those devices. So you have to install that drivers on your own. Why? Because you are attaching that device separately to the system. You do not have to do it for the inbuilt keyboard and monitor and mouse. Why? Because you have got them at the time when you have purchased. So such two types, that is operating system and device drivers, are considered to be system software because they are being given to you when the system is being purchased. आपको एक्स्ट्रा डिवाइस ड्राइवर कब डालना पड़ता है? जब आप एक्सटर्नल डिवाइस इंस्टॉल कर रहे हो तभी. ओके, व्हाट आर एप्लीकेशंस software? Application software means a user is going to install them for its own purpose. Now it might happen that you all require Microsoft Office, but I won't require, so I will not install that. So this application softwares are the software which are used by the user and they are installed by the user. So your Office, Paint, then WhatsApp that you install, all the Facebook that you install in your system. Then what else do you install is say suppose any other kind, Notepad if you want to install, Notepad++ if you want to install. So any extra software or any extra thing that you install inside your computers are considered to be application software. Now suppose if you are learning C++, if you want to install a software C++. So what is that C++ software? It is a application software. Next semester, if you are going to study DBMS, database, and if you are installing that database in your computer, what is that database? It is nothing but the application software. So this application software keeps on changing from user to user. Why? Because a user is installing only for its own purpose. The system does not give you this kind of software. They are installed by the user for its own use. Okay. So this operating system is divided into system software and application software. System software are specific to the system and they are given to you when you buy them. In case if you are installing something extra in your system, you have to make the changes into the system software according to the need. Whereas application software are completely user specific. User specific means आप install करो जैसे आपको need है वैसे. Is that clear? So that is what is software part of your computer. Now what is the network part? As I said, if you want to have a communication with the other systems, you require this network system. What is that network system? Nothing but an internet connectivity. Once if the internet connectivity is done, what kind of software you require is a web browser. Now you have your web browser, your internet connectivity is also done. But as soon as your internet connectivity is done, one device is getting attached to your system. What is that device? It may be a router, it may be a modem, or it may be any type of network cards. Nowadays we don't make use of modems and network cards. They are being replaced by the router. तो अगर आपके घर पे वाईफाई है तो आपको वो वाईफाई इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी कैसे मिल रहा है? Because you have installed one additional device. What is that device? A network device called as router. You will study all this in detail when you come to your CN course. So what is that network? What is that Wi-Fi or a router? It is nothing but a networking device. So whenever you install this network system, you will require any such kind of devices. So this modem which you can see here, this is also one type of network device. What are network cards? This is also one type of network device. Then in our labs, you can see those green cables. हर एक computer पे green cable लगाया है. What is that? It is nothing but the Cat6 cable. What is that Cat6 cable? That is also one type of a network device which will give an internet connectivity. Is this understood? So your computer system will have a hardware, it will have a software which is compulsory, but if at all you want communication with other device, you have to install the network system also. And what will be required for the network system? A networking device, which can be any of the networking device, as I just said, router, modem, network card, LAN card, cat cables, etc. And once that network device is installed, you will require only one additional software, which is any one of the web browser to start surfing on your internet. Is this clear up till here?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
एक मिनट हाँ ये
If suppose a computer doesn't have a Bluetooth driver, then does it need a hardware or we just need to install that thing?
No, you just have to install it. It will not require any hardware.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
You have to download a respective driver which will enable the Bluetooth connectivity between your mobile phone or between your system or any one system to another system. So that is additional because it was your, as a user, it was your need. Therefore, you have to download it. Okay.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now next we go is the computer component. So we have seen how your computer system works. We give input which is called as data. The data will be processed by the computer. After the processing is done, it will generate the output which will be called as information. So who is going to do all these things? There are certain components. What are those components we just saw? It is a hardware component, a software component and a user. So for a computer to work, it is mandatory to have all these three components. All these three components are required if you want your computer to work. You will require hardware, which is keyboard, mouse, monitor. If you want speakers, microphones, camera, all these is the hardware. You will require software, which is the compulsory software, only the system software, that is OS and the device driver. After that, if you are doing some particular work like working on a WordPad, making some reports or presentation, then you will download Microsoft Office. That will be considered as a application software. And the third is a user. Why is user required? Because to make this hardware and software work, I need some kind of input to be given. And who gives that input? It is a user. So again, if you have only hardware and software, and if you will tell that the computer will work on its own, it will not work until and unless it is not receiving any input from the user. So all these three are the major components, and any one of it is not there, your system will never work. So if I do not have a hardware, can I give any kind of input? No. Can I observe any kind of output? No. If I do not have any software, that means if I do not have operating system and if I do not have device driver, will my hardware work? No. Will my user be able to see or give any kind of input? No. If I do not have a user, my hardware and software will be of no use because they are not getting worked by giving any kind of input or by getting any kind of output. So all these three components for your computer system to work are mandatory. You can always add on to the hardware. You can always add on to the software. Now, what is a hardware? It is the collection of the physical elements. Why it is called as physical? Because we can touch and feel them. Therefore, it is being called as physical. Can I touch keyboard? Yes. Can I feel that keyboard? Yes. Can I touch mouse? Yes. Can I feel that mouse? Yes. Will I be able to touch my monitor? I can touch. Can I feel that monitor? Yes. So whatever devices which you can touch and which you can feel are considered to be as a hardware devices. But can I say the same thing for software? No. Can I touch any software? No. Can I feel any software? No. So hardware is only considered to be touch and feel component. Your software does not have a touch and feel component. It has only a function of its usability. That means I can only use that, but I cannot touch and feel. Therefore, hardware are considered to be as collection of the physical elements. What are those hardware? Monitor, mouse, keyboard, any kind of data storage units like hard disk, graphics card, sound card, memory, motherboard, chips, etc. All these are considered to be as a hardware. Now in CPM, you might have opened the computer system. You might have seen how the motherboard looks. You might have, what are the components on the motherboard. You have your CMOS battery, you have your RAM slots, you have processor, you have fan on a processor, then you have different types of cables, power cable connected, you have hard disk attached, you have a cable of hard disk connected, you have CD-ROMs. If it is an old computer, you will have a floppy disk drive also. So all these components which are attached to the motherboard are also considered to be as a hardware. Then you might have seen some small black color chips or green color chips on the motherboard. What are those? Those are nothing but ICs. Those ICs are called as chips. Now you'll get to know this in detail when you go in the higher semester. But right now just remember the other components which you can feel on the motherboard, green in color, or you have black in color with a brown coil on it. All these are considered to be as a ICs or a chips. They are also considered as a part of your motherboard. So all these components, whichever you touch and you feel them, are considered to be as a hardware of the system. So what does the hardware see? First one is a monitor. This is a monitor. Then you have a modem. See, a modem looks like this, which was used previously. Many of you might be aware कि पहले जब भी router नहीं था, so I used to get an internet connectivity from my phone. जब भी phone आता था, internet बंद हो जाता था. जैसे ही phone रख दोगे, internet on हो जाता था. So what was that? It was a connection with the help of a telephone line. So एक end of the computer, एक wire. अभी this is, if suppose this is a wire, one end of the wire is connected to the computer. The other end of the wire will be connected to the modem. Okay, this is a modem. The one end of the modem will be connected to your telephone line. So this is how your internet was getting. So since your telephone line was connected to the modem, so जैसे ही telephone आता था, this connection used to break. Since this connection used to break, so you could not be able to get the connectivity on the system. So this was a modem. How does it look like? Then you have a CPU. Inside this you have motherboard, fan, all the devices of the computer. Then this is the speaker. This is the external printer. This is a mouse and this is a keyboard. So these are the hardware components of your computer. Now what are input devices? A peripheral which provides a data and a control signal to an information processing system. Now what is information processing system? Your CPU, this is your information processing system. And the one who gives the data is considered to be as a input. So what is that? Input devices, they are nothing but a mechanism for controlling the signal which are given to an information processing system. So whenever I give an input 2, 3, x, any kind of number, where are those numbers going? Through the control signals, they are going to a CPU. Why they are supposed to be sent to the CPU? Because who is the brain of your computer? It is a CPU. So who is taking that data 2 and 3 from the user to the CPU? There are certain set of control signals. Now you learn this control signals as we go ahead in the slides. So just remember, after I have given 2 and 3 from the keyboard, who is taking that 2 and 3 to the CPU? It is control signals. This control signals will take a help of what? It will take the help of the buses. So bus and control signals work together to take the data from one place to another place. It translates the data from, this is doubled, it translates the data from humans and understand to one that a computer can work with it, which means what? I am giving a data 2 and 3. It will translate the data 2 and 3 into what? Into zeros and ones. Why? Because my computer system can understand only a binary language, which is in the form of zeros and ones. But can a user understand that language? No. So in between a user and a computer system, I have one more module which will do the function of this conversion from machine language to human language and human language to machine language. That is what is called as translating the data. Human gives the command in a human language, that is 2 and 3. The system will accept this human language, which is 2 and 3, and convert it into a machine language, which is that machine language in the form of zeros and ones. It will process that data in the form of zeros and ones. And again, after processing it, it will convert it back into the human language and display the output phi on the screen to the user. So there is a conversion from human to machine, again from machine back to the human, and that is what is called as translate of the data into two forms, a human form and into machine form. Okay. So these are the more examples of your input devices. You have keyboard, you have mouse, also called as pointing device, microphone, touch screen, scanners, webcam, touchpad, MIDI keyboard. What is this MIDI keyboard? It is a type of a keyboard. Now you have different types of keyboard. The keyboard of your compute desktop is different. Keyboard of your laptop is different. Keyboard for your gaming is different. Then you have something called as ergonomic keyboards. So you might have studied all this in your CPM, different types of keyboards. So MIDI is one type of a keyboard. Graphic tablets, cameras, pen inputs. Pen input is stylus. Many of you might have a phone which has a stylus. So if I want something not to be done by the touch, but if I might want to make a use of that pen is called, that stylus is called as pen input. Then you have a video capture hardware, microphone, trackball, barcode reader, digital camera, joystick, gamepad, electronic whiteboard, and so on. Now, can anyone tell me what is the difference between trackball and joystick? Any one of you who knows can put the mic on and just tell me the answer. Does anybody know what is the difference between a trackball and a joystick? Nobody?
Joystick means that
Ha,
it is
Pratham.
like the keyboard only, but in ma'am, can I say?
Ha, say no. Pratham. I'm listening.
मैम वो एक ऊपर वो जैसा रहता है, वो बॉल जैसा रहता है जॉयस्टिक में,
हाँ.
उसको आगे करते तो फिर आगे जाता है, पीछे करते तो पीछे आता है वैसा.
Ha. So that is trackball or that is joystick?
That is joystick, ma'am.
Ha. So you have a pen like something and it has a surface which can go up and down, like how we have a gear in our car. Similarly, we have trackball, sorry, joystick. You move ahead, you can go behind, you can go right, you can go left. Now, what is trackball? Every one of us has seen a mouse. What is there? Have you seen a mechanical mouse? A mouse which has a circular ball below, which is used for moving. Nowadays, those are replaced with your laser and optical mouses. But in CPM, you might have seen those mechanical balls. That is mechanical mouse. So if you put that, अगर आप उसको उल्टा कर दो, so that is what is joystick. Okay, if I can show you on the internet, just wait. This is how your joystick looks. You can move ahead. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can move ahead, you can move behind, you can move right, you can move left. But if you can move only within this surface, can you see that surface? तो जितना वो surface का radius है या फिर जितना diameter है उसमें ही आप move कर सकते हो. अगर उससे ज़्यादा try करोगे तो that will break. That is what is joystick. And if you see the trackball, it is upside down of your mouse. अगर mouse को उल्टा कर दिया, so that is how your trackball is going to look like. See something like this. So I do not have any right click, left click. I simply have to hover on this particular ball. So as soon as I keep on hovering, it will move my cursor on the screen. And later on, you can click on these buttons to have an additional options. That is what is the difference between your trackball and a joystick. Okay, so both of them are considered to be as a input device. Now next is your CPU. So we have seen what is input device. Now we'll be seeing what is your CPU. What does your CPU stand for? Central Processing Unit. Okay. Now why it is called as unit? Because it does not have only one component. It has many components into it. Therefore, it is considered to be as a unit. Now it is called as brain of your computer. Why? Because every function of a normal function of a brain, all that function of a brain is done by your CPU, therefore it is called as brain of a computer. So जो भी दिमाग लगाने का काम है वो कंप्यूटर में कौन करता है? It is the CPU. What does it do is it is used to do the functioning and the processing of any request which is being come from the user end. So user जो भी task बोलेगा वो task CPU has to perform it. So what are those tasks called as? Those tasks can be called as either functions or they are called as processes. Okay. Now CPU is made up of three parts. Therefore, it is being called as unit. Now, which are those three parts? First is arithmetic and logic unit. Second is control unit. And third is register. Now, what is ALU? Arithmetic and logic. That means what? जो भी arithmetic और logic का function है, वो कौन से part में जाता है CPU के ALU part में. So when I give a program to execute addition of two numbers. So what is that addition of two number having? A plus B. A plus B क्या है? It is addition. So addition is a arithmetic function. So CPU में वो कौन से part के पास जाएगा वो program? It will go to the ALU part. Why? Because addition करना है तो वो arithmetic unit करेगा. If I give subtraction, again it will go to the ALU. If I give multiplication, it will go to ALU. If I give division, it will go to ALU. If I give compare the two words, again it will go to the ALU. So what is that arithmetic and logic unit? Every brain function, every computing function is done by the ALU. तो जो भी यूजर ने इनपुट दिया है और जो भी प्रोसेस करना है, that is done by CPU, but which part of the CPU? It is the ALU part of the CPU. Now, who is going to control this ALU? It is going to be controlled by a unit called as control unit. यूजर से डेटा मिला क्या CPU तक, CPU से ALU में गया क्या, ALU के बाद मेमोरी में स्टोर हुआ क्या, मेमोरी के बाद स्क्रीन पे डिस्प्ले हुआ क्या. So all these functions will be controlled by whom? It will be controlled by a unit called as control unit. Therefore, the name is given as control unit. That is what it is going to do is it will control in and out from the input to the output of the particular program. Next is registers. Now we have seen some memories. We have RAM, we have hard disk, we have pen drives, we have CDs, we have cache. Then what did we just saw? We have buffer. All these are what? These are the memories. But you have one more memory apart from cache inside your system, inside your CPU. That is nothing but a register. What is that register? It is a small amount of memory. Cache memory मैंने क्या explain किया था कल? It is the fastest memory. Okay. But ये memory में जो data stored है, वो कौन से form में stored है? It is stored in the form of a registers. अभी RAM में data किस पे store है? Banks में. Have you seen those banks? If not, I'll just show you that how does a bank look like. Can you see this black color boxes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. These are called as banks. So when I say the data is stored in the RAM, where it is stored, वो ये green color पे store नहीं हो रहा है. The data is stored in this black color chips, which are called as bank. So whenever I touch a RAM, the RAM is not being touched by these banks. मतलब I have to hold it from this end to this end. I cannot hold it from these banks because if I hold on these banks, the data might get corrupted. So since in RAM, the data is stored in these banks, similarly in this cache memory, the data is stored in this cache memory, which is there inside your processor. The data is stored in the form of a registers. Now, how is that register? It is something like this. It looks like this, where if it is my first data, say suppose program 1 will get stored over here, then my program 2 will get stored over here, 3 will get stored over here, 4 will get stored over here. Now if this is filled up and if I want to erase and add something new, what am I supposed to do is I have to erase one particular data, add a new data 5. So this is how your register looks like, and it is nothing but a memory inside your cache memory. So what is that register? A form how the data is stored inside your cache memory. So all these three components are nothing but the part of your central processing unit. ALU, which does all the processing work, control unit, who will be controlling this arithmetic functions, the register ka kaam, taking the input, giving the output, displaying it on the screen. And what is the function of this register? Whenever if the data is getting stored inside the CPU, inside the cache memory, how it is stored? It is stored in the form of a register. So register is also considered to be as one type of memory. And where does that memory belong? That memory belongs to a cache memory. Okay. So what is that ALU? It executes all the arithmetic and logical operations. Which are those operations? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Logical operations like comparing of the numbers, comparing the letters, comparing some special characters. All this you might have been studied what are the arithmetic and logical operations in C. Then next is control unit. As I just said that the function of control unit is to see whether all the subcomponents of the CPU are getting managed or not. So what it is, see, it controls and coordinates all the computer components. That is right from the user giving the input till the data is processed, till it is stored in the buffer, and until it has been displayed on the screen of a user. All the controlling work will be done by this control unit. It will read the code for the next instruction to be executed. It will read the code for the next instruction. Means what? I have a program like A is equal to 2, B is equal to 3, A plus B is equal to C, and then I have STA, that is store C. If this is a program, what will happen? It will first read which line A is equal to 2, then B is equal to 3, then A plus B is equal to C, and then store C. So after it is reading this instruction, immediately the computer will automatically move this pointer to this particular location. Why? Because it is telling the system that as soon as you read A is equal to 2, the next that you have to read is B is equal to 3. You cannot read any other instruction. You have to execute the program in sequence until and unless you do not find any other label or you do not find any other loop. So what is this? Read the code for the next instruction to be executed. It is nothing but the pointer. And this pointer is being changed by a component called as PC. What is that PC? Program counter. This will come to you ahead in detail. So what is this program counter? It moves the pointer to the next instruction to be executed. I repeat again, if you all want, you can write down in your notebook. What is program counter? It is used to point to the next instruction which is going to be executed by the system. That is what is called as program counter. So currently my pointer is at A is equal to 2. Now PC, program counter, will move this pointer from A is equal to 2 to B is equal to 3. Once the execution of B is equal to 3 is started, PC will move this pointer from B is equal to 3 to A plus B is equal to C. Once the execution of A plus B is equal to C has started, the program counter PC will move the pointer from this location to this particular location. So this will go on continuing until and unless I do not found a end return in the program. As soon as it comes to an end, it will ask to store the data and stop the execution. So what this line means. It reads the code. Which code? These are the codes for the next instruction to be executed. So once this is started, it is going to read the next instruction and it will keep on continuing. So the program counter or the work of the program counter is also controlled by the control unit. It will increment the program counter so it points to the next instruction. Increment means, is my program counter incrementing? Yes. Initially it was at 1, then it got incremented to instruction 2, then it got incremented to 3, then it got incremented to 4, and then it got incremented to 5. So that is what is program counter. As soon as it reads, it increments. Read, increments, read, increment. Okay. It will read whatever data the instruction requires from cell in the memory. Now what does this mean? A is equal to 2. Where is A is equal to 2? Somewhere in the memory. So as soon as I point to A is equal to 2, what will that do? It will go to the memory wherever 2 is stored, and it will retrieve the data 2 from the memory. Immediately it is doing the work of retrieving. PC will be incremented and it will go into B is equal to 3. Again it will go to the memory cell, search for the data 3, and it will retrieve 3. After that it will do the function of 2 plus 3 and 5. Where will that 5 get stored? Again it will go and store into the memory called as buffer. Once it is retrieved on the screen as displayed as 5, it will be it will show the output to the user. That is what is, it will read the data from the cell in the memory. And where is that memory cell? What is that memory cell? It is nothing but the place where your data is getting stored. It provides the necessary data to the ALU or register. How it is providing the data? As I said, that it will take the data from the user, give it to ALU. After the work of ALU is done, it will store that data in the register. After the storing is done, it will display the output to the user. So it is controlling the function of ALU as well as it is controlling the function of the registers. If the instruction requires an ALU or specialized hardware to complete, it will instruct the hardware to perform the requested operation. Which means what? Agar suppose एक instruction है, let us assume an instruction end. Suppose if this end requires ALU to function, how is this end related to ALU? What is the use of this end? To tell the CPU that the processing is being completed, there are no more instructions ahead, you can stop the execution and display the output to the user. So to make this end work, I will always require the ALU. So if at all any of the instruction which requires a ALU or any other kind of hardware, it is a function of control unit to make that communication possible between that hardware and the program. That is what is the function of the control unit, which means वो सिर्फ ALU कंट्रोल यूनिट और रजिस्टर को ही नहीं संभालेगा, इसके अलावा अगर मेरे प्रोग्राम को कुछ बाहर से डेटा चाहिए या बाहर से कोई एक्सटर्नल हार्डवेयर का सपोर्ट चाहिए, so who is going to make that support possible is nothing but the control unit. Now as someone asked me that Bluetooth है तो Bluetooth का ड्राइवर लगेगा. So now if I want to share my data from my computer via Bluetooth to my mobile device, so what am I going to do is I will have an internet connectivity to my system. I will have the Bluetooth drivers installed. But who is going to control that communication between my external device mobile and between my computer is nothing but the control unit. Which means what? Control unit सिर्फ अंदर के hardware को नहीं संभालता. It is also going to take charge of all the other hardware and every other software connected to the system. So that is a function of your control unit. Everything which is communicating is controlled by the control unit. Okay. Then next is what is registers. As I just said, it is a memory or a way in which the data is stored inside the cache memory. So what it is, it stores the data to be executed next, a very fast storage area. Why it is very fast storage area? Because it is a part of your cache memory. So it is used to store the data whichever is to be executed next, which means what? Currently A is equal to 2 is executed. तब तक सिस्टम क्या करेगा? B is equal to 3 ढूंढ के लाएगा और किधर स्टोर करेगा? कैश मेमोरी के अंदर inside the register. That is what it is said. It stores the data that is to be executed next. Once if B is equal to 3 is executed, it will perform 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Where will that 5 first get stored? If it has place, it will get stored in the register, that is cache memory. अगर cache memory में जगह नहीं है तो वो RAM में जाएगा. अगर RAM में भी जगह नहीं है तो it will go and store inside your hard disk. Okay. So is this understood up till here? What are input devices? What is your CPU? What are the parts of your CPU? How does each and every part function? Is this clear up till here? Everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts up till here?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we'll stop here and we'll be starting with the next topic, that is memories from the next lesson. Next lecture. So what we have done, we'll just have a quick revision. We have defined what is computer. We know what are the functions of computer. Input is called as data, output is called as information. Whatever is happening between them is considered to be as processing work. Then we have seen what are the components of computer. We have hardware, we have software, which is compulsory. If I want extra sharing to be done, I have to install a network system with some network devices. After that, we have seen the components, hardware, software, and user. What do you mean by hardware? Which are the different types of hardware? What is input devices? What are the different types of input devices? Then we have seen what is CPU, what are the parts of the CPU, what is the function of each and every part. Like ALU performs all the brain work, control unit will do all the controlling right from the input till the output. And if I want the data to be stored for the temporary purpose and to be accessed at a very fast speed, I will store it inside the register, which is nothing but the cache memory. Okay, so with this we end here and we'll be continuing with the memory part from the next lecture. So now I think next lecture is on Thursday, right? And I've already told you that it won't be on Thursday. We'll be meeting on Friday, which is 17th. Okay, if at all I want to schedule it on Saturday also for compensation of the 16th, I will do that, but I will be informing you that well in advance. Okay, so we are meeting on next Friday at same time. Let me take attendance. Please stay connected. Ashna, are you there?
Yes, miss.
Aksh Nair,
Yes, ma'am. I'm there, ma'am.
Aksh Nishar,
Yes, ma'am.
Arjun Chetty,
Present, ma'am.
Devang,
Yes, ma'am.
Devang Patel,
Yes, ma'am.
Rashmi Patel,
Present, ma'am.
Dhruv Karia, Dhruv Tiwari,
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am.
Shreya Gandhi,
Yes, ma'am.
Soham Doshi,
Present, ma'am.
Sushant Kambe, Sonia,
Present, ma'am.
Sushant,
Yes, ma'am.
Taha, Tahir,
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am. Present.
Taha, where were you? Varshil,
Present, ma'am.
Vignesh,
Present, ma'am.
Dheeraj,
Present, ma'am.
Yash Chauhan,
Present, ma'am.
Yash Solanki,
Present.
Sakshi,
Present, ma'am.
Samarth,
Present, ma'am.
Sanika,
Present, ma'am.
Shakira,
Present, ma'am.
Sharad, Shlok,
Present, ma'am.
Prutu,
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Deva,
Present, ma'am.
Rudra, is he there? Sahil, not there. Kush Trivedi,
Ma'am, I am present, ma'am.
Present, miss.
who is present? Sahil, why didn't you answer?
Ma'am, I have some network issues. That's why.
Okay. Krisha, Krishnam,
Yes, ma'am.
Malap,
Present, ma'am.
Mayuri,
Present, ma'am.
Moez,
Present, ma'am.
Mrudul,
Present, ma'am.
Muzammil,
Present, ma'am.
Naman Shah,
Present, ma'am.
Nidhi, Nirmal, Nishant, you were there. Nishit,
Present, ma'am.
Parth,
Present, ma'am.
Pooja,
Present, ma'am.
Pratham,
Present, ma'am.
Prayag,
Present, ma'am.
Pritesh, Prithvi,
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Om Inzatkar,
Present, ma'am.
Parth Patel,
Present.
Hiteshi, Jay Salunke,
Present, ma'am.
Jonathan,
Ma'am, present.
Who? Hiteshi. Jonathan.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Kavya.
Present, ma'am.
Kenneth.
Present, ma'am.
Gargi.
Present, ma'am.
Gayatri.
Present, ma'am.
Harsh.
Present, ma'am.
Ishank.
Present, ma'am.
Faizan and Disha.
Present, ma'am.
Present, ma'am. अक्ष हो गया ना एक बार. अक्ष, you are done, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's done.
केवल. केवल. हमजा. Okay.
My name is not there.
Who? What is your name?
Prem Patel.
एक minute, I can't see you. Wait. Who? Prem Patel.
Patel.
Are you coming for first time today?
Drop out today.
Drop out.
Ma'am, present, ma'am.
Wait. Prem Patel. Who just said present, ma'am?
Hamza.
Where is Hamza? Hamza, show me your face. एक मिनट. हाँ, ठीक है. Who else is told? Nidhi and Sharad. Hamza is present.
Ma'am, can we leave now?
Yes, you all can leave. See you all on next Friday now.
Ma'am, can you
Yes,
share
ma'am.
this PPT
Thank you, ma'am.
classroom and recording also?
Yes, I will do that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.